Hey people, yes, another video, and today let's look at a very interesting topic, which is the idea of sequencing moves together to create a longer phrase. Instead of doing one move in isolation, let's pick out a couple of different moves, find transitions between them and create a longer phrase. This idea of sequencing moves together and creating a longer piece, a longer phrase, is not only reserved obviously to acrobatics or dance or any of these practices, but you can find them in many other as well. So for example, in my skateboarding backgrounds, you wouldn't call it a sequence, but you would call it a line, where you would basically think of a premeditated line that you want to skate. Do a trick here, do another trick there, and then finish the line with a last big trick there. In climbing, you also have routes that you would go, which is from singular moves creating something longer, right? So basically this idea of stitching something together and creating something longer is very widespread, even in our own language. When I speak and I use words, it's not just isolated words, but I use them to create sentences. And now the beautiful thing is, through this practice of sequencing, through creating sentences, ultimately we can also learn to improvise and use the material in a very spontaneous manner. Let's go. Now a quick note before we directly jump into the sequencing. What I'm after in my sequencing practice is kind of like creating doodles or sketches on the go. It's a practice of being creative. It's a practice of finding spontaneous bursts of creativity and working with them in your practice. Let's do a couple of things for this video. Basically, when you create a sequence, you can fully decide what you want to do, right? You can decide which quality the sequence should have in the end. For this video, I have chosen now 3 different qualities that I want to embrace together with you in the sequencing. I will show 2 versions of the sequence, one a little bit easier, one a little bit more difficult, a little bit more complex, for each of these 3 categories. And then later I will give a 4th example of me building an own unique sequence, basically showing my own process. Category number 1, moving with continuity and fluidity. How to flow through the sequence seamlessly without harsh stops. Category number 2, moving in and out of the floor. Which transitions bring you into the floor, which bring you out of the floor back to standing. And category number 3, slowing down tempo. Changing tempo, moving faster, moving slower, creating interesting changes of speed. And reminding you once again, these are arbitrary and you can really play with different rules and make up your own rules to the game of sequencing. It should be fun in the end. As we're working with the theme of continuity, for this sequence what I'd really tried is to catch every time the momentum of an acrobatic move with the floor move and make every transition seamless. Again, I'm trying to connect the momentum from the acrobatic moves into the floor, and if you look at my arms, they help me tremendously by balancing my body. When moving in and out of the floor, really try to be aware of where to place your feet and arms, so your supports, so the techniques can be still fluid and continuous. When moving with more momentum and more speed, and then going into the floor even more so, try to be aware how you can use your arms and legs as shock absorbers so you don't slam into the floor. Slowing down is especially recommended for beginners, as being very hectic and moving too fast in sequencing is very common. Here, this row for example, I try to do very slowly and break the tempo. If you can already hold positions such as the handstands, you can really use these to slow down a sequence without stepping out too much of the sequence. So a great tool to slow down tempo. Now I've got a little something for all of you who want to explore a little bit longer sequences, right? Basically now we have 3 small sequences. I wonder what we can do with them. Now, if during the course of me showing the sequences you notice that some of the moves that I'm showing are simply yet too hard for you to try, I have plenty of online programs where you can learn exactly all of these movements, you can learn all of the transitions, you can learn how to improvise with them, build sequences with them in a program that is structured yet playful enough. Currently there's 3 programs that I have, one for beginners called Finding Flow Basics online program. There is the Intermediate Finding Flow Integrations online program focusing more on sequencing, so the topic of this video. And then there is the big Acrobatics Lab online program, which is really filled with videos, gives you time to spend at least 6 months of practice going from more basic to very, very complex movements, tasks, sequences and ideas. And with the code YouTube10 you even get a 10% discount on any of these online programs. Find everything on www.neilteisner.shop and you can scroll through, let me know if you have any questions, practice more, and let's now continue with the video. Now, like I said before, to end this video I want to show my own process of creating a little sequence. So all of the sequences from before I kind of thought out for this video. They were relatively easy for me, but now I want to find a proper challenge. So usually the way that I start with a sequence is I search for something that inspires me in the moment, that interests me right now. So I right now will search for a couple of different moves and maybe already find a transition into a new move. And what you will see probably is that I go from one thing to another. Maybe I ditch this idea and I try to find something else which really speaks to my own interest right now. This is the most important thing for me. Otherwise the sequence really doesn't stick to me and I don't find so much interest going deeper. Okay, now I found something that is quite interesting. Never done one of these transitions before, so that's cool. I will now go a little bit deeper, I will polish it, and then I will see what comes next. Okay, I think I found my sequence. I quite like it. A couple things to really polish, so I will give it a couple more tries now. Maybe 5, 6, 7 like this. My body feels a little bit tired, so I'm not going to push it super far. But maybe it's something for the next times, and that's also cool in sequencing. Once you go on the hunt for new transitions, new little pathways, they will stick to you hopefully, right? You can keep them on video, so another day you will try them and they start to pop out. And the crazy thing is with the sequencing practice, you always find new transitions if you go for the search. It can be just where exactly to place your hand, and then all of a sudden the rest changes. Very interesting. Well, this is it for this video about sequencing, building own sequences in order to find creativity and movement. And once again, remember this: when you build these sequences, you already build an understanding of how to link certain things together, like in language. And in the end, really for me, one of my goals is to then use spontaneously these sequences, the knowledge from the sequences, in open form studies. But this is something for another time. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Like always, if you have any more questions, want to see more, simply write a comment. I'm very happy to start these conversations. Also hit the subscribe button so you don't miss the next video, as this year really I want to keep the videos coming every week. That's a new project of mine. And yes, once again, all of the Finding Flow online programs you can check out on my online shop, www.nielsteisner.shop. Receive 10% off with the code YouTube10, and also check out all of my upcoming workshops teaching around Europe and basically around the globe. All things acrobatics, falling practice, partner studies, conditioning, taking care of your bodies, finding creativity. So many things are to come. Check out everything, and I'm happy to meet you in the next video. Ciao ciao, happy practice, happy sequencing, happy doodling, and then throwing it away and creating something new every day. Ciao ciao.